beneath the glittering lights of Crypto.com Arena, where legends have battled and dynasties forged from the Showtime Magic to the Kobe Shaq three-peat, from the grit of the 2010 back-to-back Warriors to the resilience that crowned them champions. In the 2020 bubble, the Lakers find themselves at another crossroads, a moment resonating far beyond the hardwood. And at the eye of this storm stands Lebron James, the timeless Titan whose ambitions for one final championship run now dance precariously on the edge of an escalating off-court saga that threatens to shadow his twilight years in purple and gold. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Through the labyrinth of trades, rattling the NBA landscape this summer, rumblings of blockbuster deals, sneaky buyout market targets, Rob Pelinka's ever-calculating roster maneuvers, and the subtle shifts in rotations featuring Anthony Davis, finding his rhythm alongside rising stars like Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Max Christie. There's been one dominating headline that's compounded intrigue and anxiety. Lebron James embroiled in a public feud with none other than ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. What began as a fiery confrontation during a Lakers game over a comment Smith made targeting Bronny James, Lebron's son and the burgeoning point guard of the Lakers, quickly spiraled out to a digital battleground and culminated in Lebron's savage takedown of Smith live on the Pat McAfee show, the very program airing right after Smith's unleashing a bitter volley that shattered any pretense of civility. Now, Smith has thrown his own grenade into the fire with stark words. There's no situation and there's no relationship. He doesn't like me and I don't like him. But what lies beneath this cold declaration? Smith claims an iceberg, a backstage conflict no one fully grasps, alluding to unsaid attacks and attempts to harm him emotionally, alongside observations of a toxic pattern he refuses to detail, leaving fans and foes alike grasping at shadows. The last straw, Smith reveals, was him twisting the Bronny thing into an attack on family, when the target was really me, a moment that sparked Lebron's explosive rebuke on a channel owned by Smith's employer, adding layers of internal industry drama that few outside insiders ever witness. Social media erupted with divided fan reactions, some lambasting Smith's cryptic comments as theatrics, others dismissing the feud as another notch in a long saga of Lebron's complex relationships with media figures, calling it insignificant in the broader narrative of King James' empire. And yet, the question looms, how does a conflict this visceral and public affect the locker room chemistry, the mental fortitude of a team chasing playoff positioning in a brutal Western Conference, rife with contenders hungry to dethrone the Lakers? Picture Anthony Davis grinding through his own ups and downs, trying to forge chemistry with the electric yet inconsistent Austin Reeves, the emerging Rui Hachimura providing crucial scoring bursts, and Max Christie vying to carve out his role, while the soaring figure of Lebron wrestles not just with opponents on the court, but with the emotional weight off it. The timing couldn't be more precarious, with the salary cap tight, whispers of potential trades involving young assets like Jackson Hayes circulate, and a front office that knows every move could tip the scales between playoff dreams and disappointments. How does Lebron's estrangement from media allies impact Pelinka's ability to maneuver? But here's the under-the-radar bomb no one saw coming. Could this acrimony with Stephen A. Smith somehow serve as a twisted catalyst, a galvanizing force, driving Lebron deeper into his pursuit of one last glorious run? Or does it fray the mental armor that once made him invincible? As history reminds us, relationships and tensions like those framed by the legendary Kobe-Shaq rivalry or the fiery locker rooms of past Lakers dynasties can either ignite unprecedented success or expedite collapse. Does Lebron's current standoff hint at deeper fractures within the Lakers culture? Or is it merely a media storm blown out of proportion, overshadowing the disciplined preparation and strategic brilliance that Pelinka and Darvin Ham continue to instill? How do you balance the narrative of a basketball family, Lebron and Bronny, intertwined with the franchise's destiny against the harsh realities of public scrutiny and personal animosities? Fans have long cherished Lebron's ability to rise above adversity, yet this scenario cuts closer to home, inflicting wounds that aren't healed by buzzer beaters or playoff heroics. With training camps looming and the playoffs on the horizon, every moment counts as solidifying trust, focus, and unity. The Lakers need Kevin Durant-level mindset from Anthony Davis, clutch moments from Gabe Vincent during critical games, and unwavering leadership from Lebron himself. But can the King reign in these off-court distractions? Or will this schism with Smith reflect broader challenges his reign faces? As a lifelong Lakers believer, my pulse is racing just right in this watching. A titan like Lebron caught between his personal battles and his professional imperatives. As the stakes rise higher than ever, is this the ignition point for our next title run or the crack that splits our legacy? How will this evolving drama shape the final chapters of Lebron's Lakers story? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. Lightning cracks through the electric purple haze wrapping Crypto.com arena tonight. A shiver igniting my skin like I'm standing courtside right in the eye of a brewing storm that's about to drown this Lakers season in chaos or crown it with glory. Because here's the brutal truth. The Lebron Smith Civil War isn't just some side saga anymore. It's the unforgiving undercurrent that could either weld this squad into a diamond-hard playoff juggernaut or fracture the soul of a franchise already on precarious ground. The arena buzz isn't just the usual pregame chatter. It's the low, haunted hum of tension, as if the ghosts of Magic and Worthy are circling, whispering warnings we don't want to hear but can't ignore. Anthony Davis, carrying the weight of expectation like a man chained to a dream, looks on as the fans' voices drift to static, the familiar rhythm of boos and cheers replaced by whispers about off-court drama. And here's what's slipping through the cracks. This isn't just a spat between Lebron and a loudmouth pundit. It's a full-on collision course with identity for a Lakers group desperately needing cohesion, but getting anything but. The Western Conference is a rippling ocean of vipers, Phoenix waiting like a rattlesnake poised to strike, Denver's young guns sharpening every ounce of their edge, the Clippers computing every inch of weakness, and the Warriors, those masters of resurrection, stalking the shadows, ready to pounce on disruption like a pack circling a fallen prey. And in this swirling chaos, Lebron James has turned from the orchestrator of Showtime's spiritual renovation into a man weathering what might be the most ruthless test of his legendary career, a standoff where every word on the airwaves is ammunition, where his public image is dissected and grilled under Lee Corso's autumnal sun, and every hot take threatens to reforge or shatter the very legacy he's built one clutch shot at a time. Pelinka, ever the chess master, is feeling the heat, stuck in a noir thriller of salary caps, rumored trades that could gut the roster or inject fresh life, and whispers that Jackson Hayes, the young asset so pivotal to future flexibility, is dangling on the market like sacrificial prey. But here's that silent kicker nobody's shouting loud enough. Lebron's public spat with Smith at ESPN no less is stoking fires where Pelinka's maneuvers need calm waters. The media war could bleed into the locker room, infect vibe and focus like a virus no amount of veteran poise or coaching discipline can antidote. Picture AD, grinding through nagging injuries, the weight of expectations crushing, trying to connect with Reeves and Rui, weaving through rotations that feel less like chemistry and more like a storm-swept puzzle. Each practice marked by attention you can almost see in the furrowed brows and clipped sideline exchanges. And then there's King James himself, the ancient colossus whose heartbeats count the rhythm of an empire teetering. Does this internal media war break his armor or forge him into a new beast, more ferocious in his quest for that final, crown-clad run? But wait, imagine the ripple effect. Lebron's high-octane public feud fractures something far deeper, a clandestine trust within the purple and gold walls. We all know this game isn't played on hardwood alone. It's a guerrilla war of psyche, mental toughness, and unity. Every locker room whisper, every sideways glance, every quiet moment could ignite or extinguish the fragile bonds that hold this team together. Then there's the social media blitzkrieg, a digital gladiator pit of split factions, bronze supporters rallying with unyielding loyalty, media skeptics ringing alarm bells about a toxic Lebron, the millennial fandom caught in the crossfire, trying to decipher truth from theatrical shade. It's a high-wire act with no safety net. What if this schism crackles wider? What if Bronny's rising star becomes collateral damage in a saga that stretches beyond courtside? The kid is more than a prospect. He's a beacon, a symbol of the Lakers' future amid the storm. Now imagine him absorbing the fallout like a sponge, all eyes on his youth and promise. A microcosm for the entire franchise's precarious balancing act between legacy and new blood. And talk about timing. Training camp is inching closer, and instead of steely-eyed focus, what's dominating chatter is this simmering feud, a wildfire threatening to burn down the fragile ecosystem Pelinka and Coach Ham have painstakingly nurtured. Anthony Davis supporters wave the banner of silent strength, but the human cracks show when the weight of expectations, injuries, and now emotional distraction collide. Reeves, loving the grind, claws for respect, yet can he truly thrive amid This distraction, Christie to our lottery draft hope models tenacity, but the foundation beneath him wobbles. The audacity to think all this noise won't filter into games is fanciful at best. The Lakers are facing not just the external battle against their Western foes, but a psychological warfront that's pulling at the edges of their collective soul. Now throw in the external pressure cooker the media bosses behind Smith, the network's stance on disruption, and the internal power plays of ESPN's newsroom tectonic shifts, all converging into one massive swirling vortex. And here's the clause, the hidden clause no one is talking about. Lebron's contract extension talks, whispered to be at a crossroads, might be influenced by how he perceives his environment outside the pain a toxic media atmosphere could kindle, the embers of frustration that bleed into his willingness to recommit fully to a franchise grappling with internal storm clouds. What if the King's patience wears thin, and the next era at Lakers is born not from glory, but from a bitter falling out? Now picture a Lakers playoff push with zero margin for error, every game a trial by fire, every possession a test of mental resilience amid a storm of swirling headlines and whispered agendas. The champions of 2020's bubble showed us the power of unity forged in adversity, but this is a different beast. No isolation chambers here, but public squabbles that invite distraction like moths to a flame. What if the noise costs this team a series, a momentum swing, or worse, an early exit that could unravel all that hard-fought promise? Fans are roaring for the King to rise above, to channel his decades-long experience of overcoming, but deep down, there's a gnawing fear no man is untouchable, and no dynasty is invincible forever. The history books remind us that tension can fuel greatness. Look at Kobe's relentless fire, the Shaq-Kobe rivalry that, while combustible, birthed glory. Swatches the league still hums about, but they also caution rifts widen until they break the most talented lineups apart, leaving ruins of what could have been a stark shadow over legacies. The Lakers' culture is at a crossroads, balancing past triumphs against looming threats. The next weeks are crucible, and how Lebron navigates this landscape could shape not just this season, but the final, defining chapter of a storied career that has already rewritten the rules of greatness. We want the King to roar over the chaos, to silence detractors and lead this team out of the wilderness with a championship banner held high. But what if, instead, the rage and frustration that fuel his battles off-court leach into his on-court rhythm, fracturing the zen-like focus that's kept him a step above since day one? Now imagine the flip side. What if this very feud forges a harder, more resilient Lebron? What if the firestorm sharpens the Lakers' claws, and this public vendetta becomes the blistering forge that creates a team not just hungry, but ferocious, beyond all precedent? Anthony Davis, fueled by the unspoken resolve to stand with his teammate, pushes through pain to outmuscle every defender. Austin Reeves, inspired to silence doubters with verses of pure, gritty basketball poetry. Rui Hachimura and Max Christie evolving with a chip on their shoulder, so heavy it turns every jump shot into rocket fuel aimed straight at playoff dreams. And Lebron, transcending the media circus to become the ultimate warrior, the legendary general who leads his army through fire and fury, turning personal vendettas into professional triumphs. But here's the twist that no one sees coming. What if this boiling conflict spills over into front office moves? What if the delicate negotiations with potential trade partners see Pelinka wrestling with rumors, fears, and leaks designed to destabilize? An unseen enforcer might be working the supply lines, using this very feud as leverage in boardroom backstabbing, trying to tilt the scales away from Lakers' dominance. And with the clock ticking, every day echoes louder. The mercy of the trade deadline turned merciless verdict on a franchise at war within itself. You can almost hear the coiled spring beneath the floorboards of Crypto.com arena tightening, vibrating with the collective breath of every fan, every player, and every staff member who senses that what happens in the next few weeks could either be the resurrection of a titan or the shattering of a dynasty whose echoes will reverberate across NBA history forever. And oh, what if the Lebron Smith saga isn't the endgame, but the opening salvo in a deeper, darker league-wide reckoning about power, influence, and media warfare that could redefine how stars and narratives collide in the age of social media and instant outrage? The game Russia unleashed in the arena of public opinion is one more vicious than anything the hardwood can deliver. So face it, this isn't just entertainment. It's a raw human drama where careers, legacies, and the future of a storied franchise hang not on the scoreboard, but on the fragile psyche of its leader. The air itself feels thick with destiny and dread, as though every cheer could explode into a cacophonous roar, or be swallowed whole by the silence of disappointment. And as the clock ticks down to tip-off, one brutal question slices through the noise with surgical precision. Will LeBron James emerge from this inferno with his crown shining brighter than ever? Or will the fractures this feud has exposed widen, until the entire Lakers empire, built on dreams and sweat, crumbles under the weight of its own glory? As a Laker till I draw my last breath, I could feel the earthquake rumbling under this season. Now tell me what's rattling your soul, because the firestorm hasn't even peaked. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. LeBron's fight with Smith is more than media noise. It's a test of character no superstar in the history of this game has faced quite like this. The way he handles this storm not only defines this season, but could rewrite what it means to be a champion in the modern NBA.